Am I live? Yes. All right, so it's 1:29 a.m. I'm at, yeah. All right, so it's 1:29 a.m. I am at 14 hours, 53 minutes. And I'm about to hop into Ruth, which is a really short book, which is finally a good change. Now it came to pass in the days when it was revealed that there was famine in the land, a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went and sojourned in the country of Moab. He and his wife and his 2 sons, and the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife was Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons, Mahlon and Chilion, and Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah, and they came into the country of Moab and continued there. And Elimelech, Naomi's was denied, and she was left, and her 2 sons. They took the wives of the women of Moab, and the name of the one was Ophrah, and the other Ruth, and they dwelt there about 10 years. And Mahlon and Chilion died also, both of them, and the one was left with her 2 sons and her husband. And she rose with her daughters-in-law, and she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab that the Lord had visited his people and given them bread. Therefore she went forth out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went unto the way to return to the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-law, Go return to your mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. Lord grant you that may find rest, each of you in the house of your husband. And she kissed him, and they lifted up their voice and wept. And they said unto her, Surely you will return with the end to my people. And Naomi said, Turn again, my daughters. Why wilt thou go? Why will you go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb that they may be your husbands? Turn again, my daughters, go away, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say, I have hope, I have said, I should have a husband also tonight, and also bear sons. Will you tarry for them till they are grown? Will you stay for them for having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for agree with me much for your sakes, that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. And they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Orpah kissed the mother-in-law, and Ruth gave unto her. And she said, Behold, thy sister-in-law is going back unto her people, and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to love thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. Where thou diest will I die, and there will I be buried. And the Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me. When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left speaking unto her. And she went so the 2 went until they came to Bethlehem. And it came to pass when they were to come to Bethlehem, that all the city was moved about them. And they said, Is this Naomi? And she said to them, Call me not Naomi, and call me Mara, for the Almighty dealt very bitterly with me. And I went out full, and the Lord hath brought me home again empty. Then call me Naomi, seeing the Lord hath testified against me, and the Almighty hath afflicted me. So Naomi returned with the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, and which returned out of the country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of the barley harvest. Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of wealth of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, Let him now go into the field and glean ears of corn after him, who said, I shall find grace. And she said unto her, Go, my daughter. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers, and their house to let a part of the field belonged to Boaz, and who was the kindred of Elimelech. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, and said to the reapers, The Lord be with you. And they answered him, The Lord bless thee. And said Boaz unto his servant that was set over the reapers, Whose name was this? And the servant that was set over the reapers answered and said, It is the Moabitess damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers along with the sheep. So she came and continued even from the morning until now. She tarried in the house, and Boaz said to Ruth, Hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not to glean in another field, neither from hence, but abide here fast by my maidens. Let thine eyes be in the field that they do reap, and go after them. Have I not charged the young men, and that they shall not touch thee? And when thou art athirst, go unto the vessels and drink of that which the young men have drawn. And then she fell on her face and bowed herself on the ground, and said unto him, Why have I found grace in thine eyes, that thou shouldest take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger? And Boaz answered and said to her, It hath fully been showed me, and that thou hast done unto me the mother-in-law since thou left thine husband, and thou hast left thy father and thy mother in the land of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou knowest not heretofore. And the Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose arms art thou come to trust. And then she said, Let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord, for thou hast comforted me, and thou hast spoken firmly unto me, not mine handmaid. Though I be like unto one of thine handmaidens. And Boaz said unto her, In the time come thou thither, and of the bread and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. And she sat beside the reapers, and he reached the parched corn, and he reached her parched corn, and she did eat, and sufficed and left. And when she was risen up to glean, Boaz commanded his young man, saying, Let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not, and let fall also some of the handfuls of purpose for her. And leave them that she may glean them and rebuke her not. So she gleaned in the field until that evening, and beat out that she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. And she took it up and went to the city, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she brought forth and gave her that she had observed, and she was sufficed. And her mother-in-law said to her, Where hast thou gleaned today, and how wrougest thou? Where wrougest thou? Blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. And she shewed him not with whom she had brought. And it said, The man's name with whom I brought today is Boaz. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, Blessed be he of the Lord, and who hath not left off his kindness of the living and to the dead. Naomi said unto her, The man is near of kin to us, one of our next kinsmen. He said, he said also to me, Thou shalt keep fast by my young men, until they have ended all thy harvest. And Naomi said unto Ruth, her daughter-in-law, It is good, my daughter, that thou goest, that thou go out with his maidens, that they meet not one in one on any other field. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean unto the end of barley harvest and of wheat harvest, and with her mother-in-law. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her daughter, Shall I not seek rest for thee, that it may be well with thee? And now is not Boaz of our kindred, whose maidens thou wast. Behold, he winnoweth barley tonight in the threshing floor. Wash thyself therefore, and anoint thee, and put thy raiment upon thee, and get thee down to the floor. But make not thyself known unto the man until he shall have done eating and drinking. And shall be when he lieth down, and that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie, and thou shalt go in and cover his feet, and lay thee down, and tell thee what thou shalt do. And she said to her, All that thou sayest, well, and to me will I do. And she went down onto the floor, and did according to all that her mother-in-law bade her. When Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, and went to lie down at the end of the heap of corn, she came softly, and uncovered his feet, and lay her down. And it came to pass at midnight that the man was afraid, and turned himself, and behold, a woman lay at his feet, and he said, Who art thou? And she answered, I am Ruth, thine handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thine handmaid, for thou art a kinsman. And he said, Blessed be thou of the Lord, my daughter, for thou hast shewed more kindness in the latter end, than at the beginning, as much as thou hast followed not young men, whether poor or rich. Now, my daughter, fear not. I'll do thee all that thou requirest. For all the city of my people doth know that thou art a virtuous woman. Now it is true that I am thy near kinsman. Howbeit there is a kinsman more than I. Tarry this night, and it shall be in the morning that he will perform unto thee part of the kinsman, well, let him do the kinsman's part. But if he will not do part of the kinsman to thee, then will I do the part of the kinsman to thee, as the Lord liveth. Lie down until the morning. And she led his feet until the morning, and she rose up before one could know another. And he said, Let not be known that a woman came into the floor. And also he said, Bring the veil of the house upon thee, and hold it. To enter it, she held it. He measured 6 measures of barley, and laid it unto her. And she went into the city, and she came to her mother-in-law, and said, Who art thou, my daughter? And she told her all that the man had unto her. And she said, These 6 measures of barley gave me, for he said to me, Go not empty until my mother-in-law. Then said she, Sit still, my daughter, until thou know how the matter will fall. For the man will not be in rest until he have finished this thing today. Then went Boaz up to the gate, and sat him down there. And behold, the kinsman of Boaz came by. Of whom Boaz came by, and to whom he said, Ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city, and sat down here. And they sat down, and he said unto the kinsman, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth a parcel of land, which is our brother Elimelech's. And I thought to advertise these saying by it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people, if thou wilt redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me that I may know, for there is none to redeem it beside thee, and I am after thee. And he said, I'll redeem it. And said Boaz, What day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou buyest it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, for mine own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it. Now this was the manner in the former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning change. For to confirm all things, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel. Therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, Buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe, and Boaz said unto the elders and to all the people, You are witnesses this day, and I bought all that was Elimelech's and all that was truly owned in Mahlon's off the hand of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place. Ye are witnesses to this day. And all the people that were in the gate, the elders said, We are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel, and do thou worthily in Ephrath, and be famous in Bethlehem. And let thy house be like the house of Boaz, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, the seed of which the Lord shall give thee of this young woman. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went into her, the Lord gave her conception, she bare a son. And the woman said unto Naomi, Blessed be the Lord, which hath not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel, and he shall be unto thee a forester of thy life, and worship thine old age for thy daughter-in-law, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons hath borne him. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom, and became nurse unto it. And when the woman her neighbors gave it a name, saying, There is a son born to Naomi, they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now these are the generations of Pharez. Pharez begat Hezron, and Hezron begat Ram, and Ram begat Amminadab, and Amminadab begat Nashon, and Nashon begat Salmon, and Salmon begat Boaz, and Boaz begat Obed, and Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David. Ow, jeez. Microphone. Microphone. I just want to test and see if this is the real one. I just want to test and see if this is the real one. I just want to test and see if this is the real one. I just want to test and see if this is the real one. I just want to test and see if this is the real one. All right. I just want to test and see if this is the real one. All right. Sorry, I'm going to have to end this. I just want to make sure I'm using the real microphone, because I might be using my computer's microphone instead of the other microphone. So this is the current 1507. Oh, shoot.